So Solana. So yesterday we were doing a frequent AMA with our members down in our Discord server, and well, a question cropped up about Solana. How high can Solana really truly go in 2025? Well, I'm going to be presenting you guys the kind of thought process that I have on Solana, where I think it's going to be going in 2025. I'm going to give you kind of the conservative side of things, and I'm going to give you the kind of the big moon boy kind of target expectations as well. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe. Don't forget to join us down in our free Discord server, linked in the description. Let's check out what's going on with Solana. So Solana's been one of those projects that's done phenomenally well, right? But you know, at the same time, there's concerns, and rightfully so. It's held up incredibly well at the moment, but this I don't think is going to be long-lived. And I'm going to walk you through kind of what is going on here. We still have our lower range expectations on this little correction that's going on. At the moment, we do find ourselves in a very interesting structure. It is, of course, lower highs and lower lows on the daily time frame. Momentum is looking for a bigger shift to the downside. My target ranges on the conservative side is between 93 to 107, just another lower low. And a little bit deeper than that, we do have the $81.30 to 93.22, right? They're just kind of brief corrections that I'm kind of expecting in the market. Nothing terribly too major. We talk, 25 kind of conservative side, 44 worst case scenario. Like, not that bad. It's held up really well so far, considering we have seen many altcoins dropping down 60, 70%, and Solana's only really dropped down 47% since March. So it's held up well in a bit of a ranging market, okay? Now, if we zoom out of this and we kind of think about, you know, what's going on, we had the lower $8, which was a fantastic buying opportunity. Obviously, during the kind of lows of 2022, there was a huge opportunity with the FTX crashing to be shorting, you know, Solana, FTX, and so forth. And that was one of the opportunities that we kind of took within the market. Now, obviously, it wasn't the best time, where lots of people got absolutely wrecked during the whole FTX debacle, but there were some trading opportunities which some people were taking advantage of, specifically if you could see these things coming. Now, from there and the $8 low, we actually found $8 to be a really nice conservative number. We did predict it could go down to as low as $5, but it has held up well. We've seen a great reversal, bit of a push to the downside, and then a very impulsive run up to its current swing high, coming in at the $210 level. Okay, so from here, we're in a correction. And this is where I then start to get a bit of an issue with the price action of Solana. This particular correction is looking like a wave 4, which means there's a wave 5 still to come. And so the conservative price range to target comes in at the range between 0.618 on the fibs and 0.786 on the fibs. Essentially, what I'm saying here is $244 to $618, which is insanely low for some people's expectations on Solana. Now, considering everything that's going on so far, Solana's had a good run. It's been a good run mainly because of meme coins and things like that. But ultimately, in 2025, there's a huge amount of SOL tokens that are going to be unlocked in March of 2025. And I think from memory, it's about 7 million SOL tokens. And those are investors who were buying Solana way back in the early days. Like, we're talking $1 Solana. Now, are these guys who have invested millions into Solana at those really low levels going to hold on and the expectation that we're going to have a moonshot, or are they going to be looking at this saying, once we kind of go up into a new all-time high, I'll come out of my position? And that's the fear that we have with Solana. Until those long-term vesting schedules completely end and all of that supply is out there, Solana's going to see some pretty extreme volatility, and I think it's going to be bearish volatility, not necessarily bullish volatility. Until then, though, I think there's still going to be the narrative of pushing Solana higher so that those guys can cash out. So just be very mindful over 2025 when it comes to Solana. Now, I'm not saying that that's exactly what's going to happen, because no one knows how people are going to behave. But the structure and what I'm monitoring tells me that I want to be a little bit more cautious. I want to be cautious because our minimum expectation is going to be a double top with the previous all-time high, so 259, so a little bit higher than the 618. And my kind of hopes are that we can reach a little bit higher than that. But there's the true moonshots, right? So if we do see kind of, Solana ETFs, and we see these long-term investors saying, I'm not selling until we have an ETF or until there's a good reason to do so. And then maybe they are super, super long-term, longer term than the kind of, 4 or 5 year schedule that they've been on, for example, right? The idea here is that there's the potential moonshot between $2,000 and $7,500. You can see it right here on the chart, right? Between 1 and 1.236 on the fib scales, $2,018 to $7,446. But I do want to kind of say that this here would be the equivalent of a moonshot. I'm going to actually just write the word moon on there. Okay, so that's where the moon sits. And so if we really want to kind of see that, we're going to have to see long-term investors be diamond hands. We're going to want to see new reasons for demand to come on in, so ETFs, and all that kind of good stuff. But personally, the area between 244 and 618 seems a more realistic price expectation to have in 2025. Minimum expectations is a double top with the previous all-time high at 259. So really, I should say between 259 and 618, right? So 259 to 618 would be the conservative expectations. But we kind of want, and this is kind of why these kind of bearish corrections are really important to Solana's price action. If we're in a wave 4, the lower that the wave 4 goes, the higher that wave 5 will go. Okay, they relate to each other. So if we do not go down lower than the swing low that we had on the 5th of August, then unfortunately we're not going to rally as high as we could. Okay, as the potential lies. So for Solana, we want it to go down lower now so that we can benefit from that later. So in an ideal world, yeah, we want to lose the $100 level. We want to come down here. Okay, if we don't, then unfortunately our targets are going to be really, really short. I'm going to show you where they currently sit today based on today's prices. Based on today's prices, okay, in terms of that wave 4 correction there, we are going to be looking for the price of Solana to be between 244, not a coincidence, up to the 313. That's going to be right inside there. Okay, so you can see a double top situation really forming out with the current prices today. If the price does not drop down lower than the 5th of August low, that's the price expectation to have. That's not to say that we can't correct there and then have another pump to the upside later. That's possible for sure, but it's not necessarily something that we can guarantee happening. Based on the structures that we see right now, this is a high probability that this happens. Okay, now if we go down lower, we could see a bit of a push higher. Okay, so if we do come down, I'm going to grab that down to the lower kind of $81.30 range. Well, then our expectation is going to sit more between the $262 and $377. Okay, now these are just typical moves. Okay, and I want to stress that. These are typical moves that we would see inside the market. And there would be 5-wave structures. It could be diagonals or whatever, but for the most part, we would be looking for a kind of 5-wave move like that. Now, because these are just typical, they don't take into consideration overextensions. Overextensions can happen when we see a more bullish environment than maybe what we'd normally typically expect within a 5th wave movement or a wave 1 movement and stuff like that. But for the most part, an overextension is how we kind of get out towards that $600 level. For example, it would look something to this effect. Let's say we do come down to that lower range. We have a wave 1, a wave 2, a really, really nice wave 3. We come down and then we overextend into that final 5th wave move, like say. Okay, so that's a possibility that gets you to those higher ranges. One of the things that we're not seeing, though, inside the data of the charts is a run to the moon, okay, or a launch to the moon. The moonshot, $2,000 to $7,500, essentially can only happen if there's a reasonable increase in demand, and of course the supply shrinks. So for now, given everything that we see going on with Solana's price action, I think it's unrealistic to expect us to come up to the moon as much as we might want to. I don't think that's going to happen. We would really have to see a strong kind of moonshot kind of going on down here. This is a really bad kind of rocket, but you kind of get the idea maybe. They're supposed to be fire. But anyway, nonetheless, yeah, moonshot up to the moon. So for the most part, like we'd have to really get a strong move above and close above the 786 if we want to see that. So I don't suspect that we're going to. Instead, I think we're going to be looking for 259 to 618, but obviously the more conservative targets are going to sit all around that previous all-time high, coming up to maybe the $300 level. And I said this before in another Solana video, that I see Solana like I do Ethereum back in 2017. Money rolled out of Bitcoin into Ethereum and then from Ethereum into altcoins. I think we're going to see something very similar. Money at the moment has flowed into Solana, and Solana's done some pretty similar things to both Bitcoin and Ethereum, whereas many altcoins really haven't had those kind of gains yet. So I think money's going to roll out of Solana into other altcoins, and that's really where we're going to see the significant kind of surge to the upside. Of course, that's why we see Solana moving the way that it has done, and how we see other altcoins really kind of benefiting as Solana potentially just finishes a kind of lackluster kind of 2025. I could be wrong, of course, but my expectations are that Solana's got a few gains in it, but I'm not looking for significant kind of moves here. So 115% to maybe 170%. Maybe we're lucky we can get 400%. We're not going to be talking about trying to see a 10x on Solana. I do not think from the prices that we are today that Solana is a 10x position. If, of course, you got in down at those lows of 2022 at $8, well, you're in a pretty nice position so far, with price currently giving you about 17x's, with the potential still to kind of push up towards the $300, giving you around 37x's, and of course a moonshot would just be phenomenal at 250x kind of scenario. $600 is going to be about 76x from the $8 low. So there, if you're early into Solana there, great. If you were, of course, one of those really early investors buying Solana down at like $1, well, you guys are going to be in for about 260 X approximately on the kind of double top situation. If you go to $600, they are a 62 to 63x position. So you can see why there's a very unlikely situation that these guys are going to hold on, for massive gains outside of kind of what they've already achieved. I think for the most part, if someone is a large wealthy investor was investing $100,000 into Solana at $1, they're not likely to kind of turn down millions of dollars as we kind of have a 2025 double top with previous all-time high, in my opinion. But again, this is just speculation, just my thoughts and opinions on the price action in the charts as I personally see it. What do you think is going to happen in 2025 with Solana's price action? Let me know in the comments down below, or join us in our free Discord server. I would love to hear from you guys. If you found today's video interesting, informative, entertaining, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and check out this video right here. It's not one you're going to want to miss.